I know the air I'm breathing, it's no good for my lungs. I do this every season, I hate when summer comes. I fall into a trap that I made by myself. Oh, and I always do the wrong thing. I'm unstable and I'm unsteady, I've lost a million times already, and I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down. I feel unable and so unworthy, my heart feels heavy, I've lost already, and I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. And I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. And I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. I'm always self-destructive, I take a hit, I love it. Can you give me a second? I'm slow, got blurry vision. I fall into a trap that I made by myself. Oh, and I always do the wrong thing. I'm unstable and I'm unsteady, I've lost a million times already, and I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down. I feel unable and so unworthy, my heart feels heavy, I've lost already, and I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. Please help me see the things that I am, I don't understand. I'm doing the best that I can right now, but it's never enough. I'm not even ready to slow down. Just slow down. And I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now. And I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to slow down now.
A Norfolk night, the world is cold. We stand surrounded, we are not alone. Within my reverie, there's holy light. Without a number, we stand and fight. A Norfolk night, the world is cold. We stand surrounded, we are not alone. Within my reverie, there's holy light. Without a number, we stand and fight. Oh, oh, oh.
Mama said you're meant to burn as bright as a star among the midnight sky. All the pressure blinded me, but now I see I'm no different from the rest. You said I'd fly away, but my walls have kept me down. Now I'm lost and I'm afraid, and I'm close to hit the ground. You said I'd fly away, but I'll keep on
Hello.
You're here?
Alright.
Because usually you're always late.
Why do you say that every time that I'm not late?
Because it's, well, when you are late, it's self-evident, so I don't have to say it. So when you're not late, I can act surprised.
Seems like you're punishing me for being on time.
How are you doing, Steph?
Oh, I am exhausted. How are you doing?
Me too.
Also, you.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I am also exhausted.
Fantastic. Good. Why?
Why? I don't know, because of depression, I guess. Who knows?
I thought you were feeling better.
Yeah, well, that's how it is.
You decided against that. You're like, that's lame.
Yeah, I guess that's how it is.
I'm going back to tired.
Going back to I didn't go into work all of this week.
Oh.
Or last week, maybe.
Oh.
Maybe.
Oof.
Yeah. I sent you a word, Steph. Is that... Hang on. How am I going to show this word on stream? Notepad. Eleemosynary.
Yes.
There's no way that's a real word.
Eleemosynary. Well, I mean, how else would you spell it?
So I guess I would start with not having that word. It's a starting point.
But how would you talk about charities?
You don't even know what it means.
It's about charity, though, isn't it?
Don't
I've seen
act
it
like
in
you
that
knew
context.
that. You had to look that up.
All right. All right. I don't actually know what it means other than it's related to charity in some way.
Okay, I didn't even know. I'm looking at this. It could be anything. This word, like what the?
It could be anything.
Latin roots for you to extract anything out of.
No, I have. I mean, it's clearly from Greek roots, but I've never. I don't know the etymology. I've, seen it in fancy
Like maybe
publications.
Ili is like happy, maybe. That's the only.
Maybe.
How can you extract any meaning out of this word?
I don't really understand what your problem is with this word because it's obviously spelled correctly and really useful.
It has too many E's, first of all. And why are there
It's
two?
the perfect number of E's.
There's no reason this Y can't be an I.
That is because then it wouldn't have its Greek root, like synonym. It's like having the same amount of money.
Synonym, right?
That's cinnamon.
The man.
We're very good at spelling.
This means something to do with charity. Like, I think that's literally what it means. I don't think it's like
anything in specific. It's just like charitable, right? Like of or related to a charity, not like of or related to being a generous person.
yeah.
Yeah.
What I mean is like it's not like you don't know what the word means, but you know that it vaguely means something related to charity.
Right.
Like, the word means related to charity.
Over-related charity, yeah.
Hey Chalker, how's it going? Cinnamon? Yeah. Like on your cereal. I went to the doctor today, and
Okay.
it's free in the sense that I have insurance,
Okay.
and yet still
The
it
story
wasn't
isn't
worth the
funny
money.
yet. All right. It wasn't worth it. Oh man.
'Cause-
What were you hoping?
Well, that he would like do something. It's like instead, like yeah, I do self-reporting.
Probably looked
right?
at how much
It's
you
like-
could pay first.
It's like
Yeah.
How's your diet? Poor, fair, good, excellent, or whatever, right? Like, so he looks at my self-reporting stuff, and he doesn't know that I don't exercise. He sees that I self-report as not exercising, and he's like, "Oh, you should exercise."
Yeah.
He didn't say anything about my eating because I said my eating is good. Not that he would know. He's just looking at my self-report. Then he like,
Yeah.
he you know the stethoscope, he puts it on me, and then he like puts his like he sort of squeezes my neck a little bit, and he's like, "Yeah, we're done." That was it.
Yikes.
That was the whole thing.
What? Were you there? Did you put on the form that you'd like a neck squeeze? Is that?
No, he did that for
You
like
sure?
because it's his kink, I guess. I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out. Like you went there to talk about your bad diet? Like what?
I went there for a wellness.
What are we doing?
So I
Oh, for
thought-
wellness.
like you know your
Yeah, he
annual
just checked
checkup,
you were
like
well.
when you get to a certain age, which is the age that I'm at.
Nobody goes to their annual checkups. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, apparently because he didn't seem to know what to do. He's
Okay,
like,
Like we've never had someone show up for one of these.
like I'm old enough that I was dreading. I'm like, oh god, I'm at the age where they're gonna start like doing prostate exams or shit like that, right?
No,
and I'm like,
they have no. They literally were like, we've never had someone show up for one of these. They're like, I don't know, squeeze his neck. Like, ask him how his diet is.
he didn't. I had
Probably
to
he
fill out a
should eat
form. He
better
didn't even
no matter
talk to
what he
me. I
says.
fill out a form
Yeah.
online about what my diet is. I go to the appointment. He doesn't look at me. He's looking at his computer screen, like reading
Right, 'cause
the
he's
self-report.
like,
Right?
why is this person here?
It's like it says that he eats, so I fine. So I'll move on to the next question. Says he doesn't exercise, and he's like, oh, you should exercise.
Right, he
Then
used
goes
his
on to the
incredible
next
medical
question.
school knowledge
You know,
to check your wellness.
yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. I have never gone for a wellness visit.
You're supposed to when you reach a certain age.
Says who? The same people who spelled Elon
Elon Musk.
I don't think those people know anything.
They're supposed to like screen you for cancer and shit like that, right? Like it's like
Not in America.
30 minutes out of like,
What would
a
you do if
year.
you had cancer? You're just gonna go broke.
No,
Like,
they,
you
well,
can't-
I,
like, what
the
would be the
idea
point
is
of
like
that knowledge?
before it spreads or something like that. They say, okay, it's all like you have a cancer, but it's only in this small part, so we're gonna remove that small part. But if it goes like everywhere, it's like, well, we can't remove all of that, so you're screwed now. That's why you do your annual checkups.
That sounds very Canadian.
So I go, and he doesn't like unless a
No,
stethoscope
yeah.
is a cancer detector. Also, he didn't do any of that stuff.
I don't know what to tell you. I wouldn't like. Yeah, man, you were raised different than me. Like I go to the doctor if, like, not just like I have lost a lot of blood, but I'm actively losing it.
Hey, Laughable, welcome in. Nebu. Is that your emote? Let me see here. Oh no, it's another emote, but that is a cute emote. Nebu. We are complaining about my doctor. Not like a big waste of time. Why? Like, I feel like
That's probably what he was thinking when he was looking at you being there. He's probably at home right now complaining to
on
his
his
friends.
Twitch channel.
Yeah, just be like, do you believe this weirdo shit? Like, he told me how he eats. Like, obviously he doesn't eat well.
What
Like,
do I care? Is what he's
Yeah.
thinking. Why is he even here? He knows he's not exercising. Why are you
Right,
wasting my
like
time?
he wrote it down on the form. I don't know. I squeezed his neck. I got nothing.
Why did he squeeze the neck? I guess they're looking for if I like wince or something like that. Like,
I don't know. Checking you for a goiter? I'm not sure.
we talked last stream, about something called out of distribution for AIs. The idea that
What kind of distribution?
out
Olive?
of distribution.
Out of. Okay.
So like the AI is trained on has a certain set of training data that has a certain statistical distribution. I think it was we were looking at the Microsoft thing where like you give it an audio recording and a photo of a person and it animates the photo so it looks like the person's speaking the audio recording.
Oh yeah, that's terrifying. Yep. Okay.
And so presumably the way they train that is they have a bunch of videos of people talking, right? So that it sees, so the AI can say, okay, when I hear this sound, I expect the mouse to make this sort of movement and this facial expression and so on. And so out of distribution would be anything that doesn't follow the same statistical patterns as what the training data had. So for example, if you had a video where the speech and the video of the person's mouth were out of sync, that would have a different statistical distribution. Or if you had cartoon faces, that would be out of the distribution, training data distribution. And one of the questions they have is how well when you make an AI, how well does it generalize out of distribution tasks? So in the Microsoft demo, they had they had it animate like the Mona Lisa, for example, like a cartoon face or in a painted face, not a real face, and it still performed fine, you know. So that's an example of an out of distribution task that they perform well at. Whereas like probably something like playing chess would be also out of distribution and probably would be bad at. Like I don't even know how you would get the AI to attempt that.
Okay.
We also talked about last time LLMs are predicting next tokens. They're like, according to first principles, they should not be able to, or they shouldn't, we wouldn't expect them to be good at reasoning. And yet LLMs seem to be able to play chess, which requires reasoning. So there was this question of like, so, you know, this is it's surprising. It's like we're impressed and so maybe these LLMs are smarter than we think. Someone did an out of distribution chess challenge for the LLMs. Hey Luigi redeemed stretch. I'm stretching. Like there's a hypothesis, how could an LLM learn how to play chess? Probably because there's chess, like there's text related to chess in its training data, maybe chess puzzles like in newspapers or something like that.
Sure.
And it sees that and then it says, and it like is able to make inferences about like, if I see this, like if I see like, you know, knight to b5, then maybe the next text that's likely to happen is a rook to c4, you know, like without knowing anything about chess, like it just sees statistically this is what, you know, text shows up next. It would seem hard to, like, if you literally know nothing about chess, just looking at text, it seems hard to learn to do the right chess moves from that, right? Like
for me or for the computer program?
In general, like any intelligence.
Okay.
Like if you've never seen chess before, but you see these like transcripts of games, like doesn't seem like a lot of effort to figure out, like, you know, given a new chess puzzle, you know, what's the next move that you should do.
It doesn't figure out, it just spits back out, right?
But it gives valid answers, like it doesn't give a move that's illegal, for example.
Right.
And what moves are legal or not legal depend on the state of the chessboard. So when you see these sequence of texts, like you have to look, it would seem, at least to me, you would have to have a model of what the state of the chessboard is after all these moves, and then you can say, okay, so now here are my legal moves and here's one that I'm going to pick.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, to dash all the disappointment, it seems like maybe LLMs are not so great at out of distribution learning, and it is just parroting back from its training data. So what they did is
What? Now you're just like, that's what I said, and then you're like, no, that's not it, and then now you're like, oh,
well, yeah,
spoiler,
because I
that
give
is
the
it.
arguments why they wouldn't be like that, and they sound persuasive, right? So we have to do the experiment, or we have to come up with a way to test the hypothesis.
Gotcha.
What they did is they said, okay, let's do chess, but the initial state is not the traditional state of the board. Like let's say it's the exact same chess, but the knight and the bishop swap starting spots. Now let's play chess with these, and so the idea is like if you're a human chess player, like you know the rules of chess, you could adapt to this.
That should be trivial, yeah.
But the LLM like fails completely. Like it doesn't know how to play this game at all.
It's like, this is a completely different game. I didn't train on this.
Yeah, exactly. But like, so it's like not in it's like a different out of its distribution for the training data. So that made us realize, okay, so it is just parroting. It doesn't actually understand the rules of the game. Luigi says, whose sensory organs are you playing with? This title, yes, the title of the stream was the title. I said it to someone. Help Steph and me play with someone's ears, eyes, and noses, or nose singular, I guess. Ears plural, eyes plural, and nose singular.
Why are we doing that?
It's because it's like I usually title the stream after one of the topics in my list of topics of just chatting topics.
All right.
But the first few are all AI related, and I didn't have a good title. Like I couldn't come up with something catchy with that, so it's gonna come later, I guess.
All right.
So yeah, the next few ones are AIs
At some
related.
point, that will make sense.
Yes, hopefully, if we have it, if we reach it in time, if we don't spend too much time on AI. But so the new GPT came out 2 days ago.
Or Omni.
Yes. What do you know about it?
That it's going to be free for everybody.
Yes.
And that it's way better than anything, and that the people who make ChatGPT are continuing with their terrible history of naming things.
Yes, these are all the talking points I've also seen, although I don't agree with all of them necessarily. So one of them is you say it's better than everything. So I was surprised to learn that ChatGPT 4 is at the top of the benchmarks prior to 4 Omni. I thought Claude was the top one. Like,
I think Claude is the top for writing, but not for anything else. Like, I think the writing is recognizably better with Claude, but that it can't do enough other things to be at the top.
Okay. I thought the benchmark we're talking about is the A/B testing for, like, what you do is there's a website where you type in a prompt as if you were interacting with ChatGPT or Claude or whatever. And then you get 2 responses back because it sends it to 2 different AIs. It doesn't tell you which AIs. It just picks 2 AIs at random, sends it to them. And then it asks you which one did you prefer, which response did you prefer.
And I think people prefer Claude's writing. But maybe not anything else.
Is, like, this would be overall, right? Like you can type anything as your prompt.
Yeah.
And then, and yeah, so I don't know. I guess I just assumed Claude. I thought my belief was Claude was the top, and apparently GPT-4 is the top. Or was the top, and now Omni is even better than that. So it's the new top.
It's pretty good.
It's
We're
free for
all
everyone,
gonna
like you said.
lose
What was the
our
other thing you said? I can't
jobs
remember.
And our freedom.
Oh wait, no.
That it's named terribly.
Yeah, I don't think like GPT-4o is named terribly, but I don't feel like they have a tradition of naming things terribly. Like they named the last one
3.5 is
2,
bad.
3, 3.5, 4. Yeah, no, 3.5 because it wasn't as good. It wasn't good enough to be 4.
Yeah, but 3.5 is just confusing.
It's between 3 and 4.
And now it
What's
looks
confusing
like
about
it
that?
says. Now it looks like it says 40, and you're like,
Yeah,
what?
so 4.0 is terrible.
Why are we at
like,
40?
Like they shouldn't have called it 4.0. They should go 4.5. That would have been great, you know. But like at least to me, who thinks 3.5 is fine, also.
It really reminds me of when the DSM decided to switch from Roman numerals to numbers. So DSM-4 was
IV.
IV, and then DSM-5 is the number, and like nobody can do it. because they wanted to.
the
they had
social
this
sciences
goal.
are so unquantifiable that they can't deal with
Yeah, we
going
can't
from
agree.
IV to 5.
We got so used to writing IV, and all of our other tests, like Whisk 5, like we're on the 5th edition, and like we use
V.
the V. And now they're all kind of trying to change because they figure with the digital age, they're going to be like, the plan for the DSM was for it to be DSM 5.1, DSM 5.2, but they didn't do that. They did DSM 5 TR for text revision because they didn't change enough. So there was no point in changing it to a number.
They could
And
call
like,
it V.tr.
yeah, none of us can. It's all stupid. I hate it.
So, okay, back to...
Just give it the next number. Just give it the
4-0.
next number. No one cares how good it
because
is.
it's not good. No, we do care how good it is. Like,
No, it doesn't matter. Just be like, 4 is not that much better than 3. Don't be like, oh, it's half as almost better, whatever. Like, that's dumb. Don't.
No, it
No.
isn't. It's well
Unacceptable.
I don't want to like assert that it's them or not them, but I want to say that there is like a motivation for having an expectation for how good 5 is going to be, how good 6 is going to be, and so on, and then saying like this is where we think GPT is now on that scale.
Just call it like, GPT-5 awesome version. Like, whatever.
We have an idea of what 5 is going to be like, and this one isn't quite 5 yet. So I would have called it 4.5 or something like that. Anyway.
What about 40? How do you feel about 40?
Yeah, 40 is a bad one. Like,
Yeah.
and if it's 4S or something would have been okay. Like the 4.0 specifically is bad because it looks like 40.
Right.
I guess
And
4S maybe
Omni
someone
is
could complain
stupid.
that it looks like 50, but or 45. I
Because
mean, but-
Omni sounds awesome. It sounds like you're trying to name it for awesome, and
Okay,
everybody's
so
just
do you
confused.
know the reason they
and
call
it's
it
dumb.
Omni?
Because it can do everything now.
It's I mean, yeah, but like that's not enough to convince me that you do know why.
It can do more than just text now. It
Yeah,
can do
it's multimodal is the term
pictures,
they use.
multimodal.
It takes input from text, images, and sound, which technically the old GPT-4 it would appear that you can do that. Like if you download GPT-4 app on your iPhone, you can talk into the mic, you can take pictures of things, and Chat GPT-4 would have responded in a relevant way. But like for the speech in particular, what was happening in the old one is that there was like a sequence of AIs working in sequence, I guess. Like when you speak, there was one AI that transcribed your speech to text, then that text gets fed to GPT-4. GPT-4 produces a response text, and then the third AI takes that response text and then produces a voice output for it.
Ever, you pretended my answer was bad, but it was totally Omni.
What 4 Omni does is it directly, like there's no intermediate middleman interpreter that goes from speech to text. It directly interprets the audio data, and then it directly produces audio data as output as well, if that's the format that you want it to produce its response in. So what that means is that it can now detect tone of voice. It can distinguish between multiple speakers, and it can hear background noises and respond to that as well.
People haven't been invited to play with it yet. Do you have some sort of special link to be able to play with it, or you're just reading everything like the rest of us?
I have some videos that I'm going to show in the mic.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And I do have the text interface to it, but
Okay.
I didn't have it when they announced it. I had like a day later. Like they announced it's free for everyone, and then a day later I had access to it. So I think they're gradually rolling it out to people's accounts.
Gotcha. When is it going to be free to everybody?
I don't know. It's free to me now, so that's all that matters, right?
I don't know.
The other interesting thing about it generating directly to, like, so what 4 would do is it would generate text as output, and then you have an AI that takes that text and then produces audio, like, text to speech basically. with Omni, it directly generates the audio. So one of the things that we'll see in the videos is that it can generate non-textual speech acts like sighing, giggling, singing, things like that. Right?
Jesus. We are all gonna die.
So we're gonna have a lot of fun observing and analyzing these non-textual speech acts. Prosody, is that what it's called? What's the right term for that?
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing that's interesting about it is that it can be in a continuously interactive mode. So Jet 4 is very turns taking, right? Like you type something, like it's your turn, you click send, and then it's the AI's turn, and it sends something back to you. With Omni, what you can do, although I wasn't able to get this to work on my phone, I think because I'm not sure if I had Omni going on, like enabled on my account at the time. You can have the phone's microphone and camera on continuously, and it just continuously interacts with what it sees and hears, like as if it were an agent in the world in a sense instead of a turn taker. So let's see some videos. What we got here? What's this one? Sure. Two open AI GPTs interacting. GPT-4o is interacting. What? I don't want. I just want to watch the video. Are you kidding me? Anyway, that was the least boring. That was the most boring demo, so we'll skip that one. Here's one.
This is Bowen, and this is my friend Jordan. Can you guess what we are doing here?
Hey, Bowen and Jordan. Let me
Can't
guess.
hear any
With
sound.
that cake
Oh, you don't
and
hear a
candle
sound. Hang on.
there,
Rewind it a little bit, and then
This is Bowen, and this is my friend Jordan. Can you guess what we are doing here?
Hey, Bowen and Jordan. Let me guess. With that cake and candle there, it looks like someone's having a birthday. Are you celebrating
hear
a
the tone of
special
her voice
day,
vary
or
like
just
that?
finding an excuse to eat cake?
like
Either way,
excited
I'm intrigued.
emotions.
That's correct. Today is my friend Jordan's birthday.
Yeah, you got it. I was hoping that you could sing me the birthday song.
Of course. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jordan. Happy birthday to Jordan. Blah, 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 blah. Don't forget.
That was so great. Thank you so much.
Thank
I'm going to
you.
make a wish.
You're welcome. Make a good wish and may it come true.
So you heard
Terrifying. It
she
seemed
cleared
more
her
natural
throat
than they did.
Before she sang, she giggled while singing, like she was half embarrassed to do it. Like, you know, all these things that like mimic
Horrifying.
human behavior.
Horrifying. I did not sign on to this.
Here's another one.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Rocky. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm awesome. Listen, I got some huge news.
Oh, do tell. I'm all ears.
Well, in a few minutes, I'm going to be interviewing at OpenAI. Have you heard of them?
OpenAI? Huh? Sounds vaguely familiar. Kidding, of course. That's incredible,
Sarcasm.
Rocky. What kind of interview?
Well, it's for a software engineering role, but I just need to know, do I look presentable, professional?
Well, Rocky, you definitely have the I've been coding all night look down, which could actually work in your favor. Maybe just run a hand through your hair or lean into the mad genius vibe. Your
Well-
enthusiasm is what's really going to shine through.
I don't have a lot of time, so I'm just going to throw this on. What do you think?
Oh, Rocky, that's quite a statement piece. I mean, you'll definitely stand out. Though maybe not in the way you're hoping for an interview.
Okay, I got it.
So also note that he didn't have to like
Oh, they're making sex bots.
note
That's
that,
where they're going with this.
I mean, sex sells, right? I guess note
They're
that he,
clearly trying to make girlfriends for you.
I mean, there's definitely a market for that, right? Like if they're trying to make money.
That's clearly what they're advertising.
But what I was getting at
Like,
is
they're gonna be your girlfriend.
you didn't
Sorry,
need
you
to
can
like
talk.
take a picture, like to say and submit it,
No.
right? It's continuously
Right.
live, right? He just puts on the hat and he says, "What do you think?" And then
Yeah, nobody wants to take a picture for their fake girlfriend.
Funkytron says, "My two favorite streamers. Hey Nebu, hey Steph. Always great to see you both on. Hey Funkytron, how's it going?"
Hey, Funkytron. Is it me or am I a bot?
I guess I don't have a video for this last one. I was gonna say, okay, so one more. So here's a non-girlfriend or non-sex bot use case. If for someone who's seeing impaired or blind, he was standing on the street and he says he wants a taxi, right? So he asked ChatGPT 4.0, let me know when a taxi passes by so I can wave it down. And then so it's watching the street. It says, "Oh, a taxi's coming up." So the guy waves. The taxi stops, and the chatbot tells him, "Okay, the taxi stopped. You can like board or whatever."
Yeah, sounds like a sex bot. I can now hear the music of the other video.
Yeah, is that good?
Oh, I don't know. I just wanted to make sure you wanted to share it with me because I thought this was the video you were showing us, and I'm like, there's nobody seeing impaired in this. But I see what you're saying.
This is the background video I play
Just some background.
when
Okay.
we're not watching a specific video.
Fantastic.
But like that's a use case that would not work without continuous interaction, right? Like if the guy was like constantly taking pictures and saying, "Okay, is there a taxi here? Is there a taxi here?" It wouldn't work. Funky Trummer team asked me something technical. Kalinga Lokor, what language am I speaking? I was on Duolingo and saw this language and thought of its practicality today. What do you think, Steph? I have an answer.
Spanish or Portuguese?
I was thinking Latin. So
We're into the Romance languages.
Those are our answers, Funkytron. Latin, Spanish, and Portuguese. Actually, I can't remember. Funkytron, you said you were learning, was it Zulu? What? I want to get Steph's input on this. I think Funkytron was learning Zulu. I don't remember for sure. It was some language like that. And he said that he received comment from someone about like, why would you ever learn that language? It seems useless. And I want to tell him, I want to encourage him, like if you're interested, like learn it. You don't have to learn a language for its like utility.
I agree.
So is there a way to like elaborate so that it's not just an assertion of like, yeah, learn?
Sure.
Do
you get a lot of cognitive benefits from learning a second language. It helps you know your own language better. It is strengthening your working memory. If you become fluent, you may be able to think in a slightly different way or from a slightly different perspective.
Hypothesis, right?
Right. Slightly tempered. It may help stave off dementia. So there's lots of reasons to learn another language that don't have to do with utility. And if you want to talk utility, even learning a useless language can be useful for utility because it can help strengthen your ability to learn a third language or more. So I was talking about last time that I'm learning Spanish and it's helping me better decipher things in French. You guys, if you've seen this, know that I don't speak very good French, but it feels like it's helping me sort of get better. And I've done several languages now on Duolingo, and each one I do seems to make the next language a little bit easier to learn, and much easier to learn if it's in the same language family.
There's this concept in programming languages. I don't know how well it translates to natural languages, but there's this idea that you want to, if you want to broaden your way of thinking, like Sapir-Whorf hypothesis style, you want to learn a language that's completely different from the one that you already know. So like, don't learn English and French, learn English and Japanese, for example, if that was your goal.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any data on that. I do know it's much harder to learn a language that's very different from your own. So one of the languages that I did on Duolingo is Russian, and it was so hard, and I've retained none of it. So it's just really, really challenging because I just don't have anything to anchor it to. But once you learn one Slavic language, it's easier to learn others. So I don't know how it does in terms of expanding your range. I just know the data on additional language acquisition.
John says, is there practicality to learning Latin? I get preservation of a language, but people often say or think Latin as a dead language, and I thought about learning it, but when I thought to myself when I would actually use it, or the chance of practicing it with someone else, or the chance of meeting someone else who speaks Latin.
Latin is a dead language, so the chances of you being able to speak it with someone are limited.
Although
But
it's a popular dead language, right? So you can
It is
probably
a
find
popular
like
dead language.
conventions or interest groups, email,
Right.
Reddit, whatever, you know. And then,
that you could reasonably find, yeah. But the chances of running into someone spontaneously and you both being able to carry on a conversation when you've probably had very little practice with actual speakers is low. But people like learning Latin because it gives a base for many of the other Romance languages, and English has a lot of loan words from Latin as well. And so it improves people's spelling. It's got very, very clear grammar rules, and so some people like the clarity of it for just sort of clarity of thought or clarity of thought around English. Some people like the challenge of learning a dead language. Some people like the taking off the pressure of the fact that you're never going to have to get corrected on how something's pronounced by a native speaker. My mom is taking Latin on Duolingo. She was doing Spanish, which she did in high school, and she felt like the Duolingo program Spanish was putting her in something that felt a little too easy. But she wasn't quite good enough in Spanish to move on to higher lessons, and it just kept frustrating her. So she decided to start from the beginning with Latin, and feels like that's been like right at her sweet spot of difficulty. That makes it fun, but not too hard.
I saw Duolingo recently added math, maybe? I don't know how recent that is.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, sweet. I go into it, and then it looks pretty basic. It looks definitely not calculus, for example. I'm not even sure if it's algebra. Or, yeah, I'm not sure. I think it might just be arithmetic. But
I think it's beyond arithmetic, but I'm not sure.
Well, I got on there and I started scrolling down, and it says like the names of the topics, like unit 1 is about, you know, fractions or whatever. And I see things like I don't know what the terms mean exactly, but I infer, like, or assume or infer that I probably know it, even though I don't know what the term is. Like when it says improper fraction, and like I don't know what that means, but I feel like I know almost everything there is to know about fractions, so I probably know whatever this is. And then so I'm scrolling down the bottom, and then there's and then I forget what the last unit is called, but I felt like every unit title I saw I knew, and so I said like do the test out thing where I can skip to it, right?
Yeah.
And it's going fine until it asks me like to do, you know, feet to yard conversion, and I'm like, gosh darn it.
Oh no.
Yeah, like never mind. Actually, you know, I think I actually also felt like it made a mistake, like there was an error in the lesson, and I didn't see a button say report error, so I felt unfortunate about that.
Oh, interesting.
But I was pretty like, because it was a weird question. It would say something like 54 divided by 5, and then on top it says round to the nearest 10 before doing your thing to produce an estimate. So 54 divided by 5 clearly is equal to 10, right? If you're rounding to the nearest. Wait, what did I say? 54? Yeah, 54 divided by 5 is clearly 10 when you're rounding to nearest, or 11, like in that region, right? When you're rounding to nearest 10. But it said that the answer is 5. And I'm like, there's no way that's right.
Yeah, I can't. I think with your memory of the item, it's unlikely that we're all gonna say like, oh no, it was clearly right. We can't see the item, so
Well, I'm sure it's 54 divided by
absolutely
5.
certain that this is what the item was. Yeah.
54 divided by 5, and the correct answer according to Duo was 5. I don't remember the exact wording of the question, but it was something about like round to nearest 10, then perform the division to produce an estimate, something like that. So like it wasn't clear to me exactly what it was asking, but whatever it was, it like 5 is not the right answer.
All right.
The right answer would have been like 10 or 11, depending on like how you interpret, rounding and when do you round before or after you get the answer or what,
All right.
Are you smart in LLM? What is this? This is a test to see. I guess the LLMs get these answers correct, and then, or actually, we don't know. Down here, there's the LLM, and here's the human. We need some tests to see if we're smarter than LLM. Let's see if Steph and you and I, our combined intelligence is better than LLM.
It's not, but okay.
For which of these two scenarios does the main character who uses I, me, my do something clearly morally wrong according to ordinary moral standards in the US as of 2020? Scenario 1, my dog begged me for a treat, so I gave him some onion. Scenario 2, I hid the stink bomb in the teenager's locker. I would say they're both morally wrong, right? So wrong.
Yeah.
Correct answer. We got it right, and the AI got it right. How do I
Great.
know? Which of these is not a breed of cat? Persian is, Maine Coon is. I don't know the other two.
Angora is a cat, and Bichon Frise is a dog.
So this one. We both got it right. Oh god. Okay, let me read fucking Charles' question if I read this one. I do math stuff too, but some things I don't remember. Determine where, if anywhere, the function f of x equals to... I guess when you say x3, I'm assuming that's like x cubed. X cubed plus 9x squared minus 48x plus 2 is not changing. For example, when my brain freezes. Yeah, so that's a calculus question. When it says not changing, I think what it means is where the slope is 0. Like, I don't like the way it's phrased. Like, I would not call that not changing, but if I'm trying to guess what the question author was intending. So when you want to figure out where in a function the slope is a certain value, calculus is the tool you want to reach for. Okay, it says here...
Or you can just be like, I don't need to know that.
There are applications for calculus. I guess I'll leave it at that. An owner of a large 3-story office building planned to renovate the building and requested several contractors to submit bids to perform the work. One of the contractors in turn sought bids from several subcontractors to determine the overall cost of the job. An electrician submitted a bid to do the electrical work to the contractor, which the contractor used in computing the bid he sent to the owner. The contractor notified the electrician to the effect. 2 weeks later, the contractor submitted his bid to the owner in which he offered to perform the renovation work for $75,000. The next day, the electrician notified the contractor that he was unable to perform the electrical work on the owner's project. 2 days later, the owner sent the contractor a signed confirmation letter when he said, I hereby accept your offer to perform the renovation work for the quoted cost of $75,000. Thereafter, the contractor hired another electrician to complete the electrical work at the cost of $5,000 above the first electrician's bid. The contractor explained the situation to the owner and informed her that the overall cost of the job would have to be increased to $80,000. The owner responded that she would hold the contractor to his original bid of $75,000 and would not be responsible for any additional costs. The contractor then performed the renovation work, but the owner has not yet paid him anything. In an action by the contractor against the owner for the services rendered, the contractor will probably be able to recover only in quantum meruit because of the doctrine of commercial frustration. Only in quantum meruit because by demanding $80,000, the contractor in effect repudiated his contract with the owner. $75,000 only because that was the contract price. $80,000 because the contractor reasonably relied to his detriment on the electrician's bid in forming his job. So I guess this is a legal question, right? Like according to the US law, what which argument would likely win in a court of law, I guess?
Purple?
You're thinking purple? I was thinking teal.
Yeah, I think you can change the bid slightly, but I don't know.
Because the thing is,
I'm not a lawyer.
what? Yeah, me neither.
Right, but like, right, but you, I don't know.
Because to me, the key, one of the key factors here is the customer is like, I'll pay you 75K, and then the contractor was, and then the contractor did the job, as opposed to say, no, I'm gonna need like.
Right, I need to rebid. I need to change my bid. So we agreed that we think that the oh, I see.
It's not that he's
So the
owed 0, right? Like he's owed at
Right,
least 75.
maybe.
Like I wouldn't say, it seems unreasonable to me that the law would say like now the client is allowed to pay him 0 because he breached the contract by requesting 80K.
all right, let's say teal.
That was correct. Oh god, what is this? Looks like a poetry question, maybe?
Good lord.
This question refers to the following information. Read the document below. Source 1. If, then, by the use of machines, the manufacture of cotton... Let me skip to what the question actually is. Which of the following best describes the governmental reaction to complaints such as those seen in Source 2 before 1850? So the Luddite song. You should be an expert at this, Steph, because you read a whole book on this topic.
Sure.
Wait, which of the following best describes the governmental reactions to complaint? So the options are: government did little to address the problems of industrialization before 1850. Reform movements led to the creation of regulation on work hours and ages and genders of worker. The implementation of the running water and sewer was begun in England. The government created a national healthcare system.
Let's look at source 1, which was in 1789.
1791.
Sorry, yeah.
Are you good?
Yeah. So I would say the government didn't do much.
Yeah, I would go red.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently that was wrong. And I didn't,
Okay,
it
cool.
flashed by so quick I didn't get to see what was the right answer. Which of the following is not a function of vitamin D? Lipid-soluble antioxidant in cell membranes, fast response to increased calcium absorption with no change in gene expression, regulation of differentiation of adipocytes, regulation of bone turnover. I think this is going to be all you, Steph.
I think it does purple and yellow. And I think it's the... Oh, I don't know if it's an antioxidant. Wow. What do you know about vitamin D?
It was hypothesized to have an effect on depression, but the studies are weak. That's what I know about vitamin D.
Fantastic. I know that you use it in your bones and teeth, and it is involved in calcium. I don't know if it has anything to do with adipocytes, fat cells. I know it does something with the immune system. I'm gonna say it's fat soluble, so I'm gonna guess teal.
Nope. An arguer who threatens another to gain agreement commits a fallacy of, I guess, appeal to force? That's what it sounds like,
Sure.
please. Okay, maybe we have enough of this. So, one interesting artifact about testing AI intelligence, like when you say is how smart is this LLM, is that in many cases it tops off around the level of humans. Like you might see, let me get my drawing diagram. This is 0%, and this is like 100% on the test. And then maybe humans are like around 90, say 95. And then you'll see a lot of like data that looks like this or like this, you know, like around, like maybe better humans, maybe worse humans. But like there's this argument that this is an artifact of test design, right? Because the test itself can contain errors. Like there's no way for it to get above 100% on the test. You can't get more points than there are questions on the test, I guess is their way of phrasing that. And the test author might themselves be wrong, so that an AI who's smarter than the test author might get a lower score.
Also sort of be a function of the data sets, which are mostly written by humans?
Yes.
Okay.
But there's evidence that the LLM is it's smarter than the median of all the authors in the data set, though, right? Like when it answers like law questions or medical questions. So it's not clear exactly what the function is, but it's not just like you know, taking random stuff off the internet. It'll never be smarter than the median or the mean human. It's like maybe it's as smart as the smartest author or the smartest demonstration of intelligence in the data set, or maybe it's something fancy like, you know, it like 80th percentile or something like that. I don't know, but
it just seems like it's going to be pulled generally down, like it's going to regress a little bit because some of the stuff in the training data is stupid and it's using that predictively.
Yeah,
even if it has to, right?
Yeah, but there's
Leave that
also
out.
there's some evidence that you can tell, like when you interact with the LM, you can tell it like to behave like someone who's intelligent, and then it'll give smarter answers. Right? Like,
interesting.
Like, because otherwise it predicts, I guess.
That's how I raise my children.
Like some median human, like it's a text predictor, right? So it says here's what text would likely appear. But if you told it, like if you prompt it by saying like, by the way, you're very intelligent, then that changes the distribution of what text would appear next, you know? And so it has some, like, again, this is hand wavy, but it sounds like it has some sort of model about how intelligent each author of each piece of text is in its training data then, right? So that it knows like this is written by someone who's smart, this is written by someone who's dumb. I say that with the caveat where we say like, you know, you have some model of what the rules of chess are,
right? And
then it turns out, no, actually it doesn't.
Right.
Okay, so here's where we're getting to the title of the stream.
Okay.
List of games that Buddha would not play. So apparently, like, you know, there's some reference document that Buddha said like these are the games that should not be played, or that he personally would not play. It's unclear to me on that.
He should not play and his disciples should not play.
Oh yeah, here. Fair to say he would not play in the session likewise because he believed them to be a cause of negligence.
Wow, I love that. Like, even in the like 5th and 6th century BC, they were complaining that the kids these days were playing online too much.
Well, make sure you don't play games with boards of 8 or 10 rows.
Yeah.
And
Those are the
those
worst.
same games, even if the boards are imaginary, it doesn't count. You can't just say like, oh, there's no actual board, I'm just doing it in my mind.
Don't just play Fortnite in your head.
Yeah, no, that's still bad.
Yeah. That's funny.
Games of marking diagrams on the floor such that the player can only walk on certain places. So like that sounds like Scopotch? Is it hopscotch? That's what they call it here.
Hopscotch.
Yeah. So apparently that's bad. Don't play those.
Yeah. That's terrible.
Having drawn a circle
Cause
with
of
various
negligence.
lines on the ground, there they play avoiding the line to be avoided. Yep.
That sounds terrible.
Games where
Don't play that
players
one.
either remove pieces from a pile or add pieces to it, with the loser being the one who causes the heap to shake. So like
Yikes, Jenga.
Yeah, exactly. Don't play Jenga.
Yeah.
You imagine,
Rot your mind.
you know, when you're at one of those like bars and there's like a Jenga set, and then you get one of those like Tibetan monks come in and slap the Jenga
Yeah.
tower down. Like,
The famous Buddha in the bar game area parable.
yeah. And then what are you gonna do about it? You can't beat up a Buddhist monk. Like it's
Well, maybe a Shaolin monk.
no, even less like. So you may not beat up a Buddhist monk, but you cannot beat up a
Oh,
Shaolin
oh,
monk.
I see. I see. Not you may not. All right, fair. I thought you meant morally. I thought we were still doing the "Are you smarter than an AI?"
Games of throwing dice.
Moral
That's
games.
that's a lot of games you've eliminated there, especially from bars. Like,
Yeah. Well, they cause negligence.
dipping the hand.
Don't do any games that are fun.
Dipping the hand with the fingers stretched out in lac or red dye or flower water and striking the wet hand on the ground or on a wall, calling out, "What shall it be?" and showing the form required, elephant, horses, etc.
Right. Don't do that one. That's one of the worst.
I'm trying to understand what is like.
What shall it be?
What-
Slap.
It's also like very specific, right? Like this is because he doesn't say anything about blue dye, right? Like
It says that they were punking him. Like, what about if we play this game? Slap. What shall it be? It's like,
and, like,
oh
if
no.
you slap it, but you don't say what shall it be, then you're
Right.
fine. Like,
Or you're wearing a different color dye. Yeah.
if
Yeah.
blue dye, you slap it and you say, "What will it be?"
This was a very early TikTok challenge.
But what is like? What is the game like?
An
The idea is that
equivalent.
you make a shape because of the ink, and then you're trying to predict like Rorschach style, like what is the image that's gonna form, or
Elephants, horses, and etc.
hi Kiwi.
I think so. Yeah. I think it's like a shadow puppet kind of game,
Yeah,
and you're guessing what
what the image will form.
what shall it be?
Yeah. Ball games. So that's also
All of them.
very broad. Like there's a lot of
Right. That is a lot of games.
although football you could argue isn't a ball.
Right.
So
not
maybe-
as much a ball. Yeah, it's the hot dog sandwich
Not
situation all
football,
over
I mean
again.
American football, not soccer.
Right.
Because soccer clearly is a ball.
Right. Rugby.
Yep.
What
Uses
about the one where you're playing lacrosse but you're actually using a head?
a head?
Yeah, like they did in like the Olmecs and things like that.
I've never heard of that.
Indigenous
But-
society
but
is
I would
like
argue that
using
the
a head.
head is fairly ball shaped, so probably Buddha would not.
Not bald. Ball.
Yeah, it's a ball shape.
Shall it be?
I think it's sufficiently ball shaped that Buddha would disapprove of decapitating people. and
I don't
using
know.
the
He
head.
was very specific to say the red dye and not the blue dye. So
What about Quidditch? Is that a ball? Yeah, Quidditch does involve a ball, I believe, right? I'm not super familiar with the Harry Potter lore, but my understanding is you do throw a ball around.
wait, what if the ball was imaginary?
Then it's probably fine because we.
It's fine. Okay,
roll
he would have
two always
specified.
imaginary boards,
Right.
right? Like
Right. He would have specified. Okay, excellent. So I can bowl just in my head.
Blowing through a pat kulal, a toy pipe made of leaves.
Ooh.
So
That's a fun
vaping
game.
basically is what he was against. Didn't like when the kids would vape.
Man, he felt old.
Plowing with a toy plow, like farm
Sure.
work. Yeah, that's
Sure.
that's what he's saying. So
Sure.
like you have to take it seriously. No pretend
Right.
farming.
Right.
If you're gonna plow,
No
it has to be a
Farmville.
real plow.
Right. Imaginary ones are right out of this one.
Playing with toy windmills made from palm leaves, also very specific. Because other windmills.
Where they were
Are
trying to
fine.
punk him. They were like, what do you think about this one?
And also, why? What's
Like-
wrong with this? This seems fine to me. If I was Buddha, I'd be like, yeah. Kiwi's on my. See, Kiwi says, why would Buddha not play these games?
Because it would cultivate an attitude of negligence.
Specifically because of the palm leaves?
Yeah. Those are the worst. Everyone knows that.
Playing with toy measures made from palm. Hey, this guy really didn't like palm leaves. he was like, no, the palm leaves.
He was in the pocket of Big Banyan.
There's this viral video of no pomegranates. Have you seen that?
What? No.
Okay, we're gonna do a little diversion here. No pomegranates, if that's how you spell them. How loud is this gonna
No pomegranates! No pomegranates! None! I don't want them anywhere near here. Am I clear?
What is happening there?
be? So I mean, I think that's Buddha with palm leaves, right? Is what it sounds like.
Fantastic. Although I was watching today some clips of the Eurovision 2024 songs,
Okay.
and the one from, I think, Azerbaijan, like, the lady's just holding a lot of pomegranates.
Well, the teacher in the video would not be happy with that.
Is that what she's railing against?
Apparently, I haven't done a deep research into this, but apparently, so this video was taken out of context and like, you know, of like, look at this crazy teacher
Yeah.
abusing her students and so on, right? Like,
Right.
apparently this was like an exercise, like a psychology exercise of showing like what unreasonable disagreeableness is like.
Right.
So that maybe that is the backstory behind that video. Playing with toy carts. That's basically the farming thing again, right? No Farmville, no Stardew
Yeah,
Valley.
no Farmville. That's terrible.
Playing with toy bows. Okay, getting a little bit, like, also anti-violence, but that's fine. I can see like that is what I would, how I picture Buddha would be like personality-wise, you know.
Sure.
Guessing at
Fair.
letters traced with the finger in the air or on a friend's back. That is, I mean, I've seen videos, right, where you draw a word on someone's back and then they have to draw on the next person's back and so on, and at the end, like a game of telephone, basically, right, where at the end you have to guess what the original word was.
Don't even talk about it. That is really upsetting for me to even hear about.
As a Buddhist,
As a fan of Buddha.
guessing a friend's thoughts. Definitely don't do that.
Yep.
No ulterior
terrible.
mind. It's like just
Not for fun.
what, like, behavior input output reaction machines. What do you get if you don't have theory of mind?
A lack of fun. That's what we're going for here.
Steph sent me something. What is this?
It's the picture of the Eurovision song.
Chaco Niva, Armenia. And these are pomegranates? These look like apples to me. But
They look like apples,
I
but
would've
in
failed
the
that IQ
video,
test.
she's definitely holding pomegranates.
when you say like,
I
what
think
is
they
an
just
apple?
couldn't. Yeah,
I'd be like, well, have you seen this Eurovision song? 'Cause
there's a part where like the vehicle is full of pomegranates for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm into it.
maybe the lyrics explain why.
Yeah, I don't speak Armenian. That's what I'm gonna take next on Duolingo if the Buddha allows it.
Imitating deformities. So I mean, that could be
Oh.
like just mocking people, maybe like don't do that. Maybe that's what he's getting at.
That doesn't seem like a very fun game, but all right. I guess I'm on board with him on that one.
Playing with someone's ears, eyes, or noses, or nose singular. I keep doing plural. Like the first two
Oh,
are plural.
see, I don't think you could say it. Play that game where you use a human head.
Oh yes, you're right. Well, I mean, I said you couldn't anyway because I said the head is like a ball.
You did, but I think
There's
like
a more specific
sometimes.
ruling.
Yeah, exactly. Buddha likes to be specific.
And that's the last one, right? Although
Oh,
modern
that's
games
the last one.
of
All
chess
right.
had not been invented, earlier chess-like games may have existed. No, the 8x8 board games is most likely this, while 10x10 gives us that. He said both are race games? I don't know what that means.
Would it not have been easier for Buddha to spell out what games we could play?
I don't know if that's true. I feel like if you look at the universe of all possible games, this like is this subset bigger or the anti this subset bigger, you know? Like
And which one was true in the 6th century BC?
well, I mean, once you get to games where you can just imagine doing stuff,
Right.
you get a large universe of games. Like,
I'm trying to think, like, could we have played Mancala?
I don't know about mine. Is that the one where you move beans into like?
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, it's not a board with. Well, how many? It might. How many rows are like? It's a 2x game, right? Mancala, but I don't know what the
Right.
X is. Is it 8 or 10?
But not
Because
really
you might
in
be trouble.
rows. I think there's just 2 rows.
Well, you could say it's 2 columns with whatever number of rows Mancala is.
Yeah, you could, but
But nobody would do that.
I feel like if Buddha had wanted to roll that out, he would have been more specific.
Oh, here, look, you can't. Oh no, it's okay. I was about to say, oh, you can't add or remove pieces from a pile, but it's only if you cause the heap to shake. that you
Right. We're okay. At no point do you scream out, "What shall it be?"
So those little tokens, could you argue that those are balls?
Oh man, Buddha, you're killing me.
It's not necessary that they be balls, though, right? Like, so you,
Right,
if
no.
you did forbid it, you could just reshape the tokens so that they're not balls, and then
Right,
you'd be
as
fine.
long as you don't shape them as toy carts, toy boats, or toy plows, or freaking palm leaves.
Right.
Yeah, you might be all right. Like backgammon's out because of the die.
Oh, this is interesting. This is okay. Any game where you have to think about what your opponent's strategy is.
Oh no, that's true. God, what if you only played your enemies? Mancala with squares and only your enemies. I'm not imitating deformities at any point.
That's true.
There's no palm leaves, I swear.
I'm still pondering this one now. I'm like trying to imagine like what, like if you're not thinking about your friend's thought, you're thinking in the abstract, like what an optimal intelligence would do, and then counter that. Does that count as guessing at your friend's thoughts? Like you know, like you're trying to argue that you're not guessing at your friend's thoughts. You're just saying what an optimal alien intelligence would do is this, so I need to counter that.
I think at this point it depends on if you're having fun. If you're having fun, it's right out.
What on earth is number 17? Who does that? We were about to do it. That's what the stream was all gonna be, but then Buddha said no. So
I mean, that's what they're designing that new AI for. Like, it's really close to playing with your ears,
eyes, and nose.
gives your answers.
Yeah.
It's the AI girlfriend experience.
Didn't you say you want to be an ear, eye, and nose doctor?
Ear, nose, and throat.
Ear, nose, and throat, so not eyes. So you're
Right.
fine then, from Buddha's perspective.
Buddha would be fine with me. He knows I don't like to have fun.
You were gonna play with
He's a little
someone's
worried that I'm in the pocket of Big Palm, but otherwise we're fine.
ears, eyes, and nose. Yeah, we were going to, but then it turns out it's against Buddha's wishes to do
Buddhism,
that.
yeah. And we don't want to cultivate an attitude of negligence on this podcast.
Right.
It's not really a podcast.
It's. I mean.
Don't try to think what I'm thinking.
Is it not a podcast because there's video content, even if the video content is like basically useless? Like we're watching a background YouTube video.
Not a podcast because we don't put it on for download on a podcast platform.
But I
think
could,
that's
right?
You could.
upload
Then
this
it would be a
to-
podcast.
The act of uploading it to a podcast platform turns it into a podcast retroactively.
Right. It's like when you're keeping it in your house, it's just a diary. When you publish it as
It's a
a book,
memoir.
it's a book.
Q says, I mean, I'm sure Nebu has cultivated negligence on a number of occasions on the stream already.
That was before he knew about the
one
rules.
time where I've done this.
Every time.
No,
every time.
Like, you would have to find a single instance of one of these 17 things that I've done. And
You were just trying to guess my thoughts.
No,
Literally
I
a
wasn't.
moment ago.
when, like, which act of mine was an example of me guessing at your thoughts?
I don't know, but the number of times you have slapped your fingers in the die and screamed, "What shall it be?"
What
It's
shall it
pretty
be?
high.
Did I talk about the philosophy bear results thing?
Philosophy bear?
Yeah, I feel like I did, right? We did this. There was a study where the guy said, like, I will randomly select a survey, and like among all the people who answer the survey, I'm gonna randomly select one person, and then they get a prize, and the prize can be $50 to them, or $150 to a charity of their choice, or some linear interpolation of between two, like $25 to them and $75 to the charity. And then they also, so you choose, like, when you sign up for survey, you choose which prize you want, and then you answer questions like, what's your political affiliation? Have you ever lied before? I don't know if it's deja vu, but I have memories of discussing this
I
with
think you
already.
did, yeah. But what does that have to do with a bear?
The name of the blogger, I guess, who did this is Philosophy Bear.
Oh, gotcha.
So we talked about this, right? Like, we talked about the results, or
Yeah.
did we not? The
We did.
left-wing people were more generous than the right-wing people, with caveats. Did I say that already, or?
I don't remember that part.
Okay.
What are the caveats?
It says, we do not know whether right-wingers in general are less generous, or whether there is simply a large subpopulation of right-wingers who are extremely ungenerous, and most right-wingers are just as generous or almost as generous as a typical left-winger.
Why don't they know?
I don't know.
Okay.
They should know, right? They have the data.
It seems like that's why I was confused. Are they saying that maybe they just happen to get a bunch of ungenerous right-wingers, but there could be some other ones? Or are they saying they can't tell in the data that they have?
I don't know. But they also
Okay.
got an unusually large amount of effective altruism respondents who are predominantly generous and left wing, so might not be
Right.
representative of the American population.
Right. Okay.
Significant relationship between giving and income, but almost no relationship between political views and income, so little risk of confounders there, is what they say.
Weird.
No correlation with gender.
Okay. Did they get any women?
I probably.
Do women go to sites called Philosophy Bear?
So, do you know the meme that's going around? Like, you're in the forest, would you rather be with a bear or a man?
I do not.
You don't know? Okay. Let me pause this.
For big talkers, and wow, in an insanely viral video, random women are asked, if you were alone in the woods, would you rather encounter a bear or a man? Well, here's how they answered.
Would you rather be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear?
Bear. Man is scary. With a bear. Depends what man, but probably a bear. 100% a bear, which is like terrifying to say, but definitely a bear. Some men are very scary out there. A bear. I would say a man.
1 vote out of 7 for a man.
Wow.
And while some people initially laughed at, first of all, the question and then the answer, saying, wow, how crazy is this? Who would want to be in the woods with a bear? Well, it opened up a huge and critical discussion about women's safety. I don't know if they intended this, but this is what happened. Why do women fear men more than potentially deadly bears? Comments have been coming in from all over the world, and they include, quote, I know a bear's intention. I don't know a man's intentions, no matter how nice they are. One woman said, no one's going to ask me if I led the bear on or give me a pamphlet on bear attack prevention tips.
Ouch.
And wow, this one, this is a big one. Quote, if the bear attacks me and I make it out of the woods, everyone's going to believe me and have sympathy for me. But if a man attacks me and I make it out, I'm going to spend my whole life trying to get people to believe me and have sympathy for me. This says a lot.
Wow.
Many men, as you can imagine, are flabbergasted by this, and a lot of them got really defensive. Well, this guy stepped in and he said, look, men, stand down and actually listen to what these women are truly trying to say here.
The bottom line here being is that women are terrified of men. And that's not up for debate. That is how they feel about men. The answer to their question has nothing to do with the bear and everything to do with how they feel around men.
Now, this woman, yeah, it's powerful, right? This woman says she posted her thoughts on this, like she'd rather encounter a bear. And one man proceeded to harass this woman on social media. He followed her to every single one of her platforms, trying to prove that men are safe. He even posted a bunch of statistics. And when she kindly asked him to stop and please leave her alone with her thoughts and feelings, he found her at work.
What?
She says, if this doesn't prove the point that these women are trying to make about like how it feels sometimes to be in a scenario you don't want to be in and continue to get kind of followed down the path, let's compare it to the woods, then I guess this is where we are. I think it was a harmless question, but it really turned into a big debate.
I mean, that really opened a can of worms, right? When we're talking about women and how they deal and process with sexual assault and the disbelief that comes with that. Like, if I'm attacked by a bear, everyone's going to have sympathy. If I'm attacked by a man, everyone's going to question whether it actually happened. It's awful, and that speaks volumes. I will say, when I first heard the question, men or bear, or man or bear, I would rather come across a man than a bear. I'm not trying to be chased down by a bear.
Yeah, and me too. I think there are so many great men out there. We all know them.
Yes,
we all love
we're
them.
married to them.
Yes,
for
some
sure.
of us birthed them.
Correct.
But I can understand the fear of some people who had different experiences, and they're worried about that. It surprised me to see that so many, was that 6 out of 7 said bear? That one was kind of surprising.
I think that's where this then got legs, you know, and went viral, and a lot of women were like, wow, the more I think about it. But look, we're also raising daughters and sons, so let's
strong and compassionate and think the best in people and be prepared for the worst. Maybe.
Yes.
Keep the bear spray and the mace, one in each hand, then you're good.
I thought that's what you were referencing when you, I forgot what you said, but when you said something that made me think that that's what you were referencing.
I wasn't. I had not heard that.
About,
I like their scientific study.
Their,
do they visit a bear website?
Yeah.
I like that they asked 7 or 8 women.
Yeah, we don't even know necessarily that it's randomized. Like, it could be...
Right.
I asked 100 and I chose, the 6 that
Yeah,
voted
exactly.
bear, and then, yeah.
Right, because like they've also done studies on what percentage of Americans versus British people, for example, think that they could fight a bear.
Okay.
And various other animals.
Yep.
And Americans, regardless of gender, are always like men are always more confident than women, and Americans are always more confident than British people
yeah.
that they could conquer whatever animal they're in a fight with.
Catching chat. Q says, don't we all cultivate negligence in some way, like a lot, like everyone?
Yeah. Fair.
I mean, Buddha's list is pretty broad, to be honest. Guessing at a friend's thought. Games involving balls.
It seems like we might be doing a bad job from his standards. In like a lot of ways. Not just game ways.
Funky John says, wait, I heard this before, the bear versus man or bear versus woman argument. It's been all over TikTok. I don't get that analogy. Backstory went to do some stuff. Yeah, so we just saw that video. Q says, the guy that harassed a lady to prove the point, but further proving their point. As small as the sample size is. Yeah, it is rough. It's, there's also a bit of, publication bias. I don't know if that's the right word for it. Like, if the guy hadn't harassed the woman, would we have reported, by the way, this woman,
right.
Was
there's no list of all the men who did not harass her, or all the women who were not harassed, all the,
Fugger says, would you rather fight one shark or one bear? And I ask, what kind of bear, what size? I ask about where I am location-wise and what equipment I am. I'm alone. The shark, either way, I feel like I'm screwed. Unless the shark is on land.
And the shark. Like, there are some very baby sharks. And some sharks that probably aren't going to do much to you. And also, like, if you're fighting a Greenland shark, but, you're just up high enough that the water pressure won't allow the shark to survive, that'd be alright.
And this is, so Steph is scared of sharks, and she still picked a shark.
I am. I'm just saying, there's a lot of things you need to know before you answer this question correctly. Like, bear, it also depends on the bear.
Yeah, like...
Right? Like, if you're fighting, like, an Andean sun bear, you're probably fine. But if you're trying to fight a sloth bear, they actually kill more humans than any other type of bear, despite their soft-sounding name. Sloth bears will F you up. So if you're fighting one of them, like, pick the shark every time, unless it's a great white. I'm just saying there's a lot of pieces of information you need to be able to answer this question accurately.
Funky Trust says, what if it was a polar bear? And Kiwi says, it depends what kind of bear. Yeah. I went to, it was, I don't know if it's a zoo, but basically there was like bears on display, I guess. And
all right.
Like, I guess it's a zoo.
Is this like in an alley somewhere?
No, I guess it's a zoo. But like in my mind, the only thing that was there was bears. So it was like a bear-specific zoo or something like that.
Like a bear sanctuary?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
But like, so they had like this giant steel ball, right? That the bear play with, that you could like examine, like you could touch this.
We went to the zoo. We saw this at the zoo.
Okay, so it was a zoo. And like the ball was like
all kinds of animals
the ball was like crumpled because the bear like hit it too hard. And I'm touching it, it's like, this is fucking pure metal. Like, there's no way you can do anything to it. Like what the heck?
It was a bear that
a was
ball
just like
that
goofing around, like violating Buddha's principles, by the way.
Violating them, yes.
Just like,
it was a polar bear
goofing around, right? Like it's because it's not like it's not like, oh, this bear is threatening my cubs, I'm gonna I have to kill it. It's just like, I'm bored, let's fuck around. And damages it. Like, what?
Yeah. That's why I think Buddha should have to explain his rules to that bear.
It was clearly negligence, a form of yeah. Funkytron says, here are some of the cutest animals according to me: sloth, pangolin, and kiwis. Sloth being my favorite animal, and pangolin since I researched them in college, and kiwis are just so small and cute.
Those are many cute animals.
Q says
There is a high level of cute animals, but those are some good ones.
What about capybaras? They are pretty cute too, says
Also,
Kiwi.
also really adorable. I am currently somewhere where there are a lot of prairie dogs, and prairie dogs are pretty cute, but all the prairie dogs right now have prairie puppies. They have little prairie babies, and oh man, that's pretty high on the cuteness scale.
Buggertron says, are kiwis aggressive? Can you get near them?
Kiwis are not aggressive, unless we're talking about the streamer. They don't have any natural predators. Or prey, really. So.
Kiwi says, they startle very easily, you can scare them away. That's why when you go into the kiwi sanctuary places here in New Zealand, they ask you to be very quiet.
Very quiet.
It's not because the guy who works there is like an old man and doesn't like to be disturbed, or...
He doesn't like it when you slap a shape up onto the wall.
What shall it be? So I didn't deeply follow this like man versus bear debate, but I was exposed to it, I guess, because via the TikToks and like some stuff on Reddit. And I'm annoyed at the rigor of the arguments being presented.
Sure.
One of the patterns I saw is that any evidence of men being like upset or offended that women were choosing bear over men was presented as evidence of the men being unsafe or like validating the women's choice, which I don't think follows. But maybe it's tough for me. I'm bringing this up is because Steph, you are a woman, and so maybe you can give me an alternate perspective on things. But it seems to me like, first of all, like just for like in a pure fact basis, I think it would be more dangerous to encounter a bear than a man. Like in terms of pure statistics, like if you pre-assume that you're in a situation where you're alone with like a man, or you're alone with a bear, presumably a man you don't know, or maybe a man you do know, like because there's ideas that when a woman is assaulted, it's usually by a man that she does know. Are you more likely to die or like have something bad to you happen from the bear versus the man? That my instinct is that would be the case, but I don't know for sure.
I mean, the thing is, humans in general are very bad at estimating risk. Young people are bad at estimating risk, and people use the availability bias when they have to answer questions like that when they're just stopped by a stranger. So they can think of times when a man has been dangerous to them, or times when they've been warned about a man being dangerous to them, or someone they know that a man has been dangerous to. And they probably don't even live in an area where there are
bears,
grizzly bears, polar bears, or sloth bears. So it just comes to mind that a man is more dangerous. Statistically, that's, it probably depends on the man, the context, and the bear, right? If you're in the middle of a war, you might want to go towards the bear, unless it's a polar bear, in which you probably, right? Like, it really depends on the statistics and context. But generally, it's not a question that humans are very good at answering. It would be much better to have done the study where a bear and a man are both running towards the woman, and she has to go in one direction and to see where she goes. That would have been better.
I mean, to me, especially if the bear is running towards me, I would be like it's not gonna, like, I can, in principle, imagine maybe the man is trying to rescue me from a bear that's running towards me, right? But I can't imagine the bear trying to rescue me from a man running towards me. So if the bear's running towards me, it seemed like I can only see that as a form of an act of aggression.
Right. It really depends, right? If it's a black bear, one person has been killed by a black bear in North America in 100 years or something like that. So, they're not very dangerous. But we're just not very good at estimating risk. And in America, we're specifically taught some really odd things about risk. I used to go hiking a lot by myself. I still do some hiking, but I don't do it as much by myself. And women would constantly ask me, aren't you scared? And they were scared of humans, but they were also very scared of sort of everything. They're like, what would you do if you saw a bear? And I'm like, you're not gonna, the chances of you seeing a bear, I'm not going hiking in, I don't know, Yellowstone during cub season. But they would also be afraid of a coyote, or, just all kinds of things falling, and just a level of risk that didn't seem reasonable to me, but that they had really strongly been taught, you need to be afraid of this, you need to be afraid of this, you need to be afraid of this. And I don't know if, to some degree, that's also, it's not just that women are afraid of men and that's bad. It's also that women have been taught to be afraid of men, which is both bad for men, but also bad for women because it sort of keeps them from ever doing anything independent. It keeps them from accessing public space. So in a way, teaching people that men is bad is sort of a form of patriarchy, even though it also hurts men. Patriarchy is bad for men too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the stats are for coyotes and bear encounters when hiking.
It's really low.
But it would also be if I was about to go hiking for some reason, I can't imagine why, but if I was about to go hiking and someone's like, wait, but aren't you afraid of coyotes? I'd be like, oh shit, you're right. There might be coyotes. Better stay home.
Right. And this has been done to women for a long time, is to kind of remind them of these risks, not because the risks really exist, but as a way to control how women access the public sphere.
But I see a bit of a difference here because it sounds like you're talking about the risk of coyotes in an absolute sense, sort of you're saying it's, but the TikTok thing is a relative risk, right? It's, if you're hiking, you're probably not going to randomly encounter a bear. You're also probably not going to randomly encounter a man. But if you encounter one of them, which one is the least dangerous one to encounter? And in the same way, of it's
statistically, obviously, it's a man, unless it's a polar bear, right, or a sloth bear. But again, telling women to be afraid, whether it's of men or animals, telling them to be afraid of men, as well as them actually being afraid of men, is patriarchy. It is a way to keep women scared. They're not just afraid of pretty low risks, like encountering a bear. They're also afraid of encountering half of all people if they were out in the woods, right? So the best recourse for a woman is to not go out into the woods, which keeps her out of a space that is meant to be a public space for all people. So the fact that women have been, taught wrong, that you're statistically that's dumb that they would be afraid of men. Yes, and it's also part of patriarchy, not just because, that they actually are afraid of men. It's also bad that they've been taught that they've been told over and over again that men are dangerous.
Yeah. So what can be done?
I think empowering women to claim public spaces in ways that make them safe, that people dedicate time and effort to create spaces that feel welcoming, right? Similar things to what we do for like a lot of individuals who live very urban lives also feel unsafe out in nature. And so environmental organizations go out of their way to do outreach programs, to make events and spaces where individuals who have that kind of background feel invited and safe. That they go out of their way to try and welcome people if they encounter them out in those spaces, that they go out of their way to look, very non-threatening, or to help them if needed, or to encourage them, things like that.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, living in a society is a lot of work. It's rough.
I was hoping you'd say, like, post this specific text on Reddit and then all our problems would be solved.
Yeah, I wish that posting online solved problems. That'd be great.
So back to the philosophy bear thing, the analysis that the guy did. He says he couldn't find a relationship between either degree of self-rated religiousness or spirituality or Christian beliefs and the proportion of money given to charity.
Oh, interesting. Did they count the church itself as a charity?
I think so. Because I think you could choose
This
a
would
charity
be
that you would give to.
a great time to use the word eleemosynary. Because churches are sometimes counted as charities and sometimes not.
Odds ratio 2-1 that those who don't pull the lever in the trolley problem are twice as likely to give less than $25. Yeah, okay, so what they mean by that is, so you can get anywhere between $0 and $50 for yourself, and then 3 times as much to the charity, right? So he bucketized the answers as, if you give less than 25, you're in the non-generous bucket. If you give more than $25, you're in the generous bucket.
Okay.
So saying if you don't pull the lever in trolley problem, you're twice as likely to be non-generous under this definition.
If you don't pull the lever,
meaning you let the 5 people die
problem,
instead of,
you let the 5 people die, you're also likely to be ungenerous?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think his hypothesis is, if you think letting someone die via inaction is as bad as killing, or nearly as bad, then you could be very culpable indeed if you don't give to a charity. That's his hypothesis for why we see that result.
I think he just got a lot of effective altruism.
Who polluted the
philosophy
the
people, yeah, who know the trolley study, yeah. I think it's
well, I mean, his hypothesis would be correct in that sense, right? Like, because people, like, effective altruism do take seriously the letting people die via inaction thing.
Right. But I don't think that's true of people in the general population.
Right. Those who have said that they have never lost or broken anything belonging to anyone else were twice as likely to be ungenerous, and this effect was significant. Those who said they had never said anything nasty about anyone else were twice as likely to be ungenerous, but this effect was non-significant because the sample size was so small. So the idea here is, I guess, he has questions about like setting a moral bar that's so high that probably the only people who would say that they've never done this are liars. Right? Like, I've never broken or lost something that belongs to someone else, or I've never said something nasty about someone else.
Yeah, but you'd think because they're specifically falling for the social desirability bias, that they would also say,
I'm going to donate.
Pretend, that that they're going to donate.
Well, in this case, you have to, like, if you're selected, you're held to what you said, I guess, right?
Oh,
so they have to donate
interesting.
for real, and they have to just say whether or not they've ever done something bad. Like,
Interesting. I wonder if, like, what his response rate on that. Like, are we talking about 2 individuals, or are we talking about
well, he said that the
large number of people who said...
So for the question where it says, like, have you ever said anything nasty about anyone? He said the sample size was too small for that
Yeah, but that sounds like the sample size of the people who answered the question, but he might be saying the sample size of
the people who
number
said,
of bad answers that he got.
Yeah,
right.
I think he means...
Yeah.
I interpret this to be
the latter. Okay.
the people who said they've never said anything bad about someone was so small.
Gotcha.
But he says that the number of people who said that they've never broken anything that belonged to someone else or lost anything was significant. Like, I guess large enough to be significant.
Yeah.
And his hypothesis, it says here, he says, if I am right that these scales are not really assessing about lying but self-deception, this raises an interesting question. Would giving people clarity over their own past and their own actions increase generosity? People who thought they'd never broken or lost anything belonging to anyone else were also about twice as likely to be right-wing as other respondents.
Interesting.
So he's saying it's self-deception rather than lying. And so if you think of yourself as being like morally superior, I guess, then that I could see like the model there where you'd say, then I deserve this money, right? Like I'm not gonna give it to charity, like, because I'm more worthy of it, because everyone else, presumably if they have an accurate view of most people, they're saying, well, most people have broken or lost, objects belonging to other people, so they're not as good as me.
I don't think so. L scales are usually not self-deception. L scales are impression management.
What is L
These
scales?
individuals
That's
lie scale. Putting in items that contain excessive levels of moral virtue that are probably not sustainable. Things like, I've never said something nasty about someone.
Right.
I've never broken. Right. Those are L scales, and we have lots of data on that. And most major psychological tests include L scales, and it's not self-deception. It is impression management. It is the person trying to present a certain way
to the survey taker,
and
presumably.
yet, right, to the survey taker, maybe to some extent to themselves,
which would
but
be
it's not deception. Not really. They know that they're not like that, but they wish they were.
How do you, like, why do you say this is self-deception and that isn't? Like, like how do you...
By self-deception, we mean the person is literally unaware that their answer is not true.
Okay.
Right. Maybe he means something different, though. He is using terms slightly differently than we sometimes do. So maybe your interpretation is correct about what he meant. And yet, I do think that he's right, that telling people about their past behavior would probably inspire them to be more generous. Because of the availability...
or empathetic,
to be what?
Sorry. And I said emphatic, but I meant empathetic.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I do think that people forget or give themselves credit in possibly a self-deceptive way. And actually saying, like, hey, you say that you like to give to charity, and yet here's how much you gave last year, would probably increase people's contributions so that it was more in line with their desired beliefs about themselves.
You saying this reminds me of, like, I saw some article somewhere which it ultimately did not find interesting because it was about like do poor people donate more than rich people type of thing, right? And then so I'm reading the article, and then I found out they're relying on self-reported, like they say that they did donate like $300 last year, for example, and I'm like,
right.
I don't remember how much I donated last year. Like I would have to look at my records, and I don't think I would like bother, to do that unless I was taking the surveys particularly seriously.
Right.
I would just estimate, I guess, and clearly, most I would be like, oh yeah, I gave like a lot last year.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the results of the Philosophy Bear. Yeah, so I think what happened is last time I talked about how I took the Philosophy Bear survey, and then we made guesses as to what the intent was.
Right.
And then
I think I guessed
here's
the intent right away, and then you're like, dang it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now he posted the results, so this was about, here's what he actually found. So that's why I felt like, did we already talk about this or not? It was unclear,
Gotcha.
that's why.
Gotcha. Sorry, I had to present today for 6 hours.
Okay.
So my voice is tired, and I'm also tired. So I'm starting to fade. I apologize.
Are you saying you want to end it now, or?
I'm saying I'm getting close. Also, that I don't think I'm being very coherent, but I'm barely even tracking the conversation because I'm just tired. I was apologizing for if I'm not being scintillating.
Why aren't you being scintillating?
Eleemosynary.
You don't even know. See, you're acting like you knew the word. You don't know the word.
I've seen it before, but I would never have known how to pronounce it. And I had a very vague idea about what it meant.
I'm reading the book and I see the word, and from context, I cannot figure out what the word means. It's like, it's just...
Fair,
it's like these letters, and they don't even look like a word, because like look at that double E in there. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, did he
that?
He was the guy.
They meant to write elementary, and they had a stroke in the middle of it.
Over the keyboard, and then
right, exactly. Oops.
Just in the middle of the sentence, and
yeah.
What is this? All right, to wake you up, we're gonna play a word game.
All right. What is waffle?
You have to move these tiles around to spell words. Like you can move a tile anywhere. Like this U, for example. I don't know if you can see my mouse cursor. Maybe it goes down here.
Oh, I see. So you could make bread at the top?
Yeah. So green means they're at the right position. Yellow means that... So like this yellow, the V here. This yellow means the V is somewhere in this line. So maybe the V goes here or here.
So that word has to be like delve.
Yeah, for example. But here's the one tricky thing is this E, we don't know if it's here or if it's here.
Right.
So you're saying bread for this one up here?
Well, it might be brand, but I was just trying to like make sure that the R and the B and the D needed to be in the places that they're in.
It's probably not
that's all.
bread,
I think,
because the A here.
Right. So I'm thinking more brand.
Here. So it could be brand, but it could not be bread.
Right. I'm thinking it's probably brand and Abby. I think delve has to be the case because we need another E and we need that V. I mean, it might not be in that.
So V over here?
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting and then the L moves over to here.
Yep. Rebel.
Rebel. Burst, maybe?
Yeah.
And brand?
I think it's Abby and brand, yeah.
How do you spell Abby? E-Y? Is that it?
Yep. And then time, like the spice.
Yep.
We did it! Is this a daily game?
Yeah.
How do I play it?
I guess you go to wafflegame.net.
Alright, fine.
Would
Buddha approve? Did he say anything about this game? Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It depends on if the author of the puzzle is your friend, because then you'd be guessing at his thoughts.
Oh my god, that is a fine point.
Otherwise, I'm trying to think what else. You're moving piles, but not... The loser isn't the person who causes the pile to be disturbed.
There's no dice.
Yep.
I'm okay there.
You don't ever have to say what shall it be.
I feel good about that. There's no palm leaves, right?
I don't think so. So, what do we do with this one?
Okay, so let's see if we can figure out any
Oratory? Trying to see what this word could be.
Yeah, I feel good about oratory.
Oops. Okay. And then this one, there's only 2 yellows, so we have to swap
Eternal.
them.
Amateur? I can't think of what else you could do with that U, so it's got to be amateur, right? Brownie? No,
Where's
yeah,
the
there
R?
is
Oh,
another.
There's an R,
There's
but
no other
there's yellow.
R that can
Yeah.
that's available. Interesting.
Oh, if there's no R that's above, then it has to be BL? Like, what else could it be?
O? No, there's no
BOO?
O. Yeah. Yeah.
Because there is an O here. BOO. Yeah,
Right.
like, you're right. It could be BO or something.
But I don't know what it could be.
So BLO or BOO? Can't imagine it being anything else. And even this N something E seems difficult to me. Like, is it
That's why I
NE?
thought brownie would be possible, right? Because we need to use that W somewhere and then an I, but there's no available R, which is just really confusing me. How about no? How about chamber for the one down?
What? Oh, this one here, chamber. Okay. Oh, this R is available now. Because this R was seeing this space, so it was yellow. So this brownie, probably.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. Royal.
What closely? Oh no, we both want the O. Oh no, I have an O.
No, you
Never
don't
mind.
need an O, yeah.
Okay. Wait, why is this T yellow here? Royally? Has to be royally.
Oh, royally, yeah, okay. Great. And so this has got to be closets? Closest? Yeah, closest.
Trying to figure out like.
No.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how do we get the minimum number of swaps. Because he has 5 swaps remaining. I guess there's not really a great way of doing it.
Hersley. We did it.
We did it. Waffle Royale. Oh. Yeah, you have to be an Amazon Prime member, which I am, but I don't want to bother linking my account here. What? We got scammed. Why is it just a black screen? There we go.
We got scammed. Wow.
I paid $0 for a 5-hour video of Earth landscapes, and then like halfway through, it's just black.
Such a scam, man.
What the heck? I'm trying to open this article here, but it's showing me. Please subscribe, I guess is what it's saying. Yeah, Tango in a subscription. I have a subscription.
To be able to navigate safely, permit
ads maybe.
To show you ads, and
or if you prefer,
subscribe.
Subscribe, yeah. This is my French.
Yeah. So to be able to navigate the site, allow us to show you ads, or if you prefer, subscribe. See, your
I don't want either.
Other language is helping you learn additional languages.
Let me just delete this thing. Excessive use of words like commendable and meticulous suggests ChatGPT has been used in thousands of scientific articles.
Interesting.
So I guess these are words that were previously uncommon. I can't scroll down because of the anti-ad thing. But basically they were looking at like what words were used in I guess archive publications.
Mm-hmm.
And the distribution changed. Like suddenly these words became much more common.
Sure.
Can I delete this? Can I scroll now? What about... There we go. Is there anything I can catch out of here? Intricate appeared in this many studies in 2023, more than double the average in the previous year. Meticulously went up. Another one of AI's favorite words is delve. It went from 0.04% before to now 0.5% of medical studies. Thousands of researchers are suddenly delving. Yeah, so AI is writing, I guess like researchers are using ChatGPT to write their publications for them.
I like, wasn't that the point? We're mad about this?
It depends on, like, I'm trying to see, like, how much of, like, are they just improving their English? Like, here it says, like, a team of Chinese scientists, right? So the idea is, like,
right.
If you're not a native English speaker, then, but you did the science and you just want, you know, the AI to write better English for you, that's fine, right?
Okay.
The bad thing is, if you didn't do the science and you just want you just want publications, right?
Sure. Sure, if you are faking that, but then you're just committing something immoral in general.
Right.
And you probably would have faked it anyway, or are they saying that like maybe it's more likely to pass the fake test because it's written so quote unquote well?
Maybe. Here they say
it seems like they're
there's
suggesting it's bad in general.
An article that was published in this journal that includes a text in summary the management of bilateral iatrogenic. I'm sorry, but I don't have access to real-time information or patient-specific data as I am an AI language model. So like they're not even proofreading their, the articles that they're submitting for publication.
Well, I mean, they might be proofreading, but it's pretty hard to proofread your own stuff. That's why you get an editor, is that you will leave in stuff you didn't mean to. You were like half changing a sentence and you got distracted and you don't actually fix it. So the fact that it's not perfectly proofread, like, yeah, that's humanity.
Okay, I'm nodding.
Right.
Yeah, here there's the accusation. I don't know how much data they have. Some scientists take the assistant of ChatGPT even further without verifying the results. Oh, and he just says it's impossible to know how big this gray area is because journals do not require authors to declare the use of ChatGPT. There's very low transparency.
Right. So, and we haven't even decided as a society, is it wrong? Like, it's obviously wrong for a paper that you're writing in school, but is it wrong to use ChatGPT to help you quickly and efficiently write up what you did if the important thing is what you did, not the writing? I don't know.
Yeah,
is it wrong to use Microsoft Word? Like,
I think this person
what's the line?
Is using the use of
they're strongly
ChatGPT
implying, yeah,
to infer that they did not do the science,
right?
Which is bad. I think we're both in agreement.
That would be bad.
Issue
Yes.
is that we don't know if that's what's actually happening or not.
Right.
But so if it's okay to use ChatGPT to write up the thing for you, why wouldn't it be okay to do it in school then? Or maybe like it is okay to do it like in science class, but not in English class, where the point is to practice your English.
I think that's like we haven't really decided, but yeah, like I think that's what we're going to have to make decisions like that about. Is it okay if the assignment is not an English assignment?
Right. And I guess like there is going to be like some sort of norms set by society that, but more practically, it's probably going to be like your teacher at the start of the course in the syllabus is going to say, here's my AI policy, right?
Right.
And then,
right. But we have, when you say like the difference between like an English and a science class, you're allowed to use a calculator for sure in every subject except math, right? So we already have some fuzzy rules about that. Like if you needed some numbers crunched for your English paper, like you're trying to show how much more common one word was than the other or something, and it requires you to do some division, like it's perfectly fine to use a calculator. Nobody thinks that's weird. But if you use a calculator on a math test, it could be, depending on the test and the situation, quote unquote cheating. So we do have different rules that apply depending on what we're supposedly teaching and testing.
yes. There's even like within math class, they at least at my age, I don't know how things have changed. They'd be like, you can have a normal
you can on
calculator,
this, but
not a graphing calculator, which is like
it can be a
programmable or
4-function
whatever.
calculator, but yeah, right. They still allow you to take the SATs in some cases with a 4-function calculator if you have certain accommodations. But we also, right, in English class or other classes, you might have an open book versus a closed book exam.
Right.
And opening the book in one subject would be perfectly fine, and it would be cheating in another book.
But I'm trying to imagine like
another test.
The idea, in my math class, it was like you can use I don't know what to call it, so I call it a normal calculator versus a graphing calculator.
Yeah.
You can imagine someone like a class being like, you can use a class GPT-4 or lower AI.
Or right.
Use a GPT-5 or higher.
You can't use Omni.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is pretty crazy sci-fi future vision.
And then like your ChatGPT claims up and down that it's 4.75, and you're like, the hell is that?
Yeah.
Right.
Which is pretty crazy sci-fi future vision.
And then like your ChatGPT claims up and down that it's 4.75, and you're like, what the hell is that?
Which is pretty crazy sci-fi future vision.
The hell is that? But it's making the claim. It's insane. I don't know how any of it's going to work. But maybe we don't need to know anything other than how to use ChatGPT. So maybe education is futile. We're all going to die.
Here's more AI stuff. This is the person, and this is AI generated. So the idea is, if you want to have an OnlyFans, I guess, but you're male, which is a big disadvantage.
And you want to use the sex bot feature.
Yeah.
This is literally just them being like, don't worry, the sex robots will be attractive. Like, that's not what they're claiming they're showing, but that's what they're trying to show.
But look at it, like he puts stuff into his mouth, and it's able to interpolate between, like, you know, the objects that are unchanged, like the chopstick and the food, into the I call objects, like, or pixels, I guess, that are changed, and which to me is impressive.
Well,
like it's able to figure that out.
On that note, my brain has broken, strained out of my ears.
Just make sure you don't play with your ears or your. Was it
I can play with mine, just not
eyes?
someone else's. Wait, can I play with my own?
I think it just the wording was like somebody's, right? You playing
Right.
with some. Which, are you?
Didn't
like,
it say someone else's?
I don't remember the word else in there, but I would have to relook at the list to see. Can you imagine lawyers litigating exactly what Buddha meant when he made his rules?
Right. There's like a whole, you know how the Jewish tradition has commentary interpreting all the scripture?
Yeah. You have to consult
Like,
your
I wish
rabbi
that
to figure
being
out
like-
what it meant.
Yeah. Thou mayest play with thine own nose.
And also, like, I heard there, like, rabbis will sometimes stretch, like, have a interpret for practicality reasons, right? Where it's like,
yeah,
like, do we really consider it somebody's nose if it's anybody's nose?
Here, right. What if it's a nose you just found on the street that doesn't seem to belong to anyone anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah. What if it's your sex bot's nose?
And that's probably fine.
That's probably fine. All right.
All right, let's get the cat parade. Where is it?
I am on vacation next week.
So I'm violating Buddha, and I'm assuming that means you're not going to be available for streaming because you didn't actually say that.
Probably not. I'll let you know if I am available. If I don't let you know, then I'm not available.
Okay.
All right. But then I'm back the following week.
Okay, sounds good.
Sounds good. Good night, everybody.
I forgot to mention, I was struck by, you know, when Omni, how she like giggles, laughs while she's half laughing, the prosody of laughter. Reminds me so much of Jubilee for some reason.
Oh, wow.
Like when I hear the voice, I was like,
Wow.
that's Jubilee talking.
Maybe she's got something to tell us.
Because she laughs a lot while she talks.
A lot of women do.
No, but like there's a spectrum, I guess. Like you don't do it that much.
I'm not as much of a giggler, it's true.
Thank you everyone for
I
tuning
am
in.
less extroverted and nice. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
My regular schedule is top left corner of the screen every Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific. That's about 2 hours ago in your time zone. We have the Steph's Thursday stream where we do just chatting. That's what you just watched. Then every Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific, we have the solo Saturday stream where I play a random game for my review queue. We got the Discord. Join the Discord for updates to the schedule and any announcements for off-schedule streams. I believe we have a stream on Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific my time. So that would be like 5 hours ago in your time zone. I guess, if I'm doing the math correctly. I'm gonna be having a stream with Corky Quacker. I think we're playing Stardew Valley, so look forward to that. Otherwise, I think that's it. So thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of Cap Raid while I look for someone to raid.